Welcome. The comic book known as Terminator DeathValley is a story that takes place in between Terminator 1 and 2. It was published by Dark Horse Comics, written by Alan Grant. Yeah, the paleontologist. I guess he was a real person, and one of the stories he wrote was this one. The artist of the comic is Steve Pugh, and I gotta say, it's not a bad art style. Very detailed with the close-up shots. The comic doesn't exactly have a subtitle to make it stand out, as it's mainly just called The Terminator. So the best subtitle for this comic book story would be The Terminator DeathValley, since it's the name of the location that it takes place at. To summarize the story, two Terminators have been sent to Death Valley, California, where Sarah Connor and her son John Connor are said to be at during that time. The two Terminators are known as the D800L and the D810X. The surprising thing about this story is that both Sarah and John Connor aren't the main characters here. They only appear the moment Sarah hears about the incident involving Terminators over the news, so she quickly gets John and successfully hides from the Terminators throughout the story. And instead, we get to concentrate on more than one or two characters here. There's a biker whom the Terminators are after because he mentioned that he knew the whereabouts of Sarah and John Connor. There's a woman and her son who have the same name as Sarah and John Connor, only it's spelled differently, and they're the ones that the biker thinks that the Terminators are after. So they end up being involved as well. Then there's Dr. Edward Newbert, a scientist and businessman that's trying to sell and fund his research for his deadly war machine. There's a war veteran who was sent to protect the senator's daughter, but failed. He teams up with an old man and his mule as they help him locate the kid, his mom, Sarah Norton, and his father. But what's really surprising here is that the two Terminators are slightly different in their programming, as the D800L seems to question much of what goes on, rather than staying 100% focused on their mission objective. It's uncertain whether he got some sort of a glitch going through the time travel process, or if a current injury caused him to think a little outside its programming. So it gets very interesting when the story focuses on them rather than the main characters trying to survive. At one point, we get an intense weather change since it's the desert, and the tremendous rain and thunder cause an interference to both Terminators, and even lightning strikes the D810X. And she falls off the cliff they were climbing, but her partner, the D800L, barely grabs her as she's getting pulled by the current. His status informs him to let that Terminator unit go, as it is expendable and he must not waste time and effort trying to save it, and he must continue his mission. But yet, he ignores it and continues to try and save the D810X, which he succeeds doing so. He pulls her from the raging torrent, and the question that races around both their circuits is, why? This story basically succeeds in developing the characters of the Terminators instead of solely relying on bringing in the familiarity of Arnold's the T-800. The Terminators here are interesting. The characters trying to pursue the Terminators or run from them are quite interesting as well. It's fascinating to see these two Terminators dealing with these characters in the middle of the desert, which makes it a lot harder to try and defend themselves against these Terminators that refuse to go down like the T-800 in the first two Terminator films, even when they've taken so much damage. There are 4 issues to this comic book story, so it doesn't take long to finish reading it all. And that leads to my conclusion of the recommendation for this comic book story. I highly recommend fans of the Terminator series to check this story out. It may include the same premise as the first film, which just about every Terminator film ripped off, but it actually tells it in a very intriguing way that will leave you satisfied by the end. It's even better since it doesn't revolve around Sarah or John Connor, since those characters tend to be the main focus for the films. And here, they easily avoided any encounters with the Terminators since Sarah Connor kept her identity secret from anyone in Death Valley. And since they're in the desert, then she can easily find a hiding spot in the middle of nowhere and stay there until the situation has been dealt with. And if you wonder, why doesn't she just go out hunting for the Terminators herself? Well, it's obvious. A single human being from the present time could not possibly handle a Terminator by themselves, or God forbid, two Terminators. I'm sure you're gonna say, well, that's exactly what she is in the latest Terminator film, a Terminator hunter. Well, to answer that, Hollywood only made her a Terminator hunter to appease to the whole wham and power. I don't care how experienced you are with military weapons, that doesn't make you a successful Terminator hunter. It doesn't matter how many years you take preparing for that occasion. Terminators have auto-aim. One shot to the head and it's over. Kyle Reese grew up in a future where the machine war took place, and so he had to fight against Terminators all his life. And even with that entire life experience dealing with Terminators, that did not mean that he was easily going to deal with the T-800. He died trying to take it down, and even that attempt was unsuccessful as it still continued to pursue Sarah Connor. So yeah, it's more realistic here with Sarah Connor than it is in Terminator Dark Fate. But anyways, this story is definitely worth checking out. I'm going to be reviewing every Terminator comic book so I can shine some light on some very underrated Terminator stories that you probably did not know about. Also, I'm going to be narrating some of my favorite stories, like I do with the Resident Evil comic book stories. So get ready for those in the near future. As for now, that's it for the video. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button to give this video a chance to grow. I'd like to thank all my Patreon supporters for their impeccable generosity. Your support means a lot to me, and you are part of the reason why I try to make the best content that I can. And if you like this content, check out the rest of my channel. You'll find more entertainment from separate franchises I like to cover, such as Mortal Kombat, Dragon Ball Z, Celebrity Deathmatch, Men in Black, The Mask, Batman comics, The Terminator, TMNT, Dino Crisis, Resident Evil, and more. If you're a Patreon supporter, check out my exclusive videos such as the Gantz content. And if you'd like to show your support, go to my Patreon and support the channel, which is only $1. Sacrifice that McChicken for extra quality content, my friend. But anyways, I'll see you all in the next video, and remember to have an awesome day.